Welcome back to the Street Shaman Podcast. I am your host, Shamanic Poe, aka Poe and the Rockstar. And today I'm here with CPTSD expert and philosopher, Richard Grannon. Richard Grannon, how you doing, my guy?
I'm very well, sir. Very well, potent. Thank you very much for having me on again. It is always a pleasure to catch up with you on. Oh shit. However, I just broke my stand. Sometimes I
You
don't know my own strength. Do you know what I mean?
there you go. Being too brolic. That's what happens when you're too fucking brolic. Too much of a gorilla. Yo.
Excuse me, everybody,
um
while I snap the shit out of my ring light. I do apologise.
No, you're good, man. You're good. We're gonna take our time.
You need some of that background music, the bossa nova that plays the Brazilian style, the girl from Ipanema. We have technical issues. Whilst Richard smashes his fucking ring light. Okay, fixed it.
All right. So how you been, man? What you been up to? Where are you staying right now?
I'm back in my hometown, in my home area. I'm back in the Wirral. I was in Serbia for a week. I've just come up from London. And before that, I was in London before I went to Serbia, doing some seminars and some interviews and stuff. And now I'm back for a little over a month. I'm going to take December off, which I'm really looking forward to.
No doubt, no doubt. So what's going on with the seminars? I know you just did one recently and you had a little scare or something. What's going on with all that and how you feel about that little scare that happened to you?
Tell me how you feel. I feel great. No, I'm going to have security now. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what that means, Poten. I mean, it's a hassle, but maybe it means something. I'm at the level now where I need security to do seminars.
Right. You at rapper level. You at gold star rapper level for sure. So what happened? What makes you feel like you need security now? And how is the landscape of like the seminar game different compared to when you started?
I mean, from the very beginning, I had people who would come to seminars who, their problem isn't narcissistic abuse or codependency. Their problem is that some of them are out on, literally, I'm not saying this to try and make a joke, like some of them are out on day release from psychiatric care facilities, which makes me fucking delighted with the care facility. I'm like, yeah, thanks very much for fucking palming them off on me for the day. So we have had people who are either very delusional or psychotic, or, we say like they're not high functioning in the world. They don't really know how to talk to people. They don't really know what they're doing. They're confused about why they're there, and they're confused about who I am. And many of them are living a story where they're already in some sort of a relationship with me. And so they'll just start talking to me in real life, wherever the imaginary version of me left off the conversation inside their head, which is, it's scary. I mean, it's disturbing. If somebody is disturbed and you're interacting with them without warning or preparation, it's pretty weird. It freaks me out.
Right. So you're saying like more or less schizophrenics.
Yeah, people who are within that spectrum. I think the big umbrella term now, what is it? Is it delusional disorder or psychotic disorder? Basically, their relationship with reality is severely damaged. There are reality checks that just either aren't functioning or aren't being done. And so, yeah, I got cornered as I was. Well, the woman was talking to me like that before the seminar began, and my heart sank because there was only 40 people in there, and to have 1 out of 40 is not great. And she came over to me and she was like, "Do you want to talk about it?" I was like, "What? Sorry, the seminar's not started yet. We've got 15 minutes, but feel free to make yourself comfortable." Richard. And I was like, fucking hell, here we go. Do you want to talk about it? I'm like, I'd talk about what? I don't know you. What do you mean? Did you know I would come here to be with you tonight? And I'm like, oh, would you fuck off? I've got to, yes, I work in mental health. Yes, I have a degree of compassion, but I don't have a PA. I don't have security. There's me and the video guys there. And I'm sort of arguing with the hotel because they haven't put out enough seats. And I'm just like, would you fuck all the way off? this is a seminar. I'm not your fucking psychiatric nurse. I'm not your psychiatrist. It's a fucking seminar. And yeah, she eventually collared me at the end of the seminar. As I tried to hide from in the toilet, sent some text, hoped that she would go away. And she collared me in this tiny corridor as I was leaving the toilets. And then she wanted to talk to me. She was like, "We can talk here." And I was like, "We can't fucking talk here. I'm not standing in a fucking corridor with no CCTV while you pull a sharpened screwdriver out of a bag and start shanking me, or later accuse me of sexually assaulting you. Absolutely not." So it got a bit like I had to tell her that if she didn't leave me alone, I was going to have to call the police. And I was being very verbal to be clear in case people could hear me, in case so that there would be witnesses. And fortunately, a child psychologist was in range. She clocked what the situation was. She blocked the woman from following me, and I left. So yeah, that was that with that.
Yeah,
It's not what I
that's
signed
tough.
up for, mate.
I hear you. That's tough. That's kind of like part of me calling myself like shamanic Poe or being a street shaman was I continue to attract all these people with disorders.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like,
you'll make yourself a magnet for borderline personality disorder as soon as you use the word shaman.
well, before that,
Yeah.
but before that, the reason why I called myself that, or I took that moniker on, was because of the fact that I continued to have schizophrenics in my life. Like, I literally had a dude that was like, "Yeah, no, we shouldn't do that." And I'm like, "Who are you talking to?" He's like, "The devil." And I worked with this dude, and he was a cool dude outside of him doing that weird shit for a bit. You know what I mean? But this is what I've been encountering most of my life. That's why I don't even try to talk to most people, because when I would get into that actual interaction with them, I would see that they're riddled with a bunch of shit. And I'm like, I got my own shit that I'm dealing with.
Yep.
I can't really be dealing with everybody else's shit. But
100%.
this goes to my next question. What do you think is the actual percentage of people with personality disorders nowadays? Because I think that we don't, like clinically, there's a number of the people that actually came in and got checked out, but the actual number, the actual percentage of people with personality disorders, especially like online and all the shit that people deal with, it's not like we're dealing with the same asshole. They're constantly new people with fucking problems, right?
There's a never-ending supply of new assholes every day. I was actually listening to there's a track called "Clout" by Cardi B's wife. What's his name? Offset. It's a good track, and it's about people trying to steal clout online. And some of the lyrics get into that. Like, there's new lunatics every week who are accusing you of stuff, who are trying to create beef with you, who are trying to create problems with you so that they have a degree of clout. So there's a clout economy, there's a betrayal economy, there's a deception economy, there's a cancellation economy. And we have to have an adult conversation about this. We can't keep sticking our heads in the sand. You'll get people who say, "Oh, you fucking YouTubers, you artists, you performers, you're paranoid, you're always complaining." No, this is real. And the risks are real, because the worst case scenario is you could get stabbed up or shot, but you can certainly just have drama. You can just have drama in your life. To answer your question, though, with that little preamble, I admit openly, this is my daily bread, and right now I'm burnt out. However, I still think after a month's rest, I'll be saying the same thing that I'm about to say. We are at the precipice of a moment where the term narcissistic personality disorder will become redundant. If everybody's got narcissistic personality disorder, there's just no, it doesn't mean anything. You're just saying a person. You're like, "Oh, he has NPD." No, he's a person. That's all he has. It's really bad. People are, my humble opinion, way more damaged and far crazier and far more delusional, and their personality is not in order. It's chaotic. So the rates are through the roof as far as I'm concerned.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, you can see it when people are talking about like black and white thinking. Like
Yeah.
when anything that happens, if you're against the vax or for the vax, it's like binary.
Yeah.
It's like ones and zeros.
Yeah.
Everybody is either you are alpha or you're beta. Like you're either all the way up here or you're down here, which is
Yeah.
black and white thinking.
Yes.
And it seems to be a plague across all cultures, almost all societies, where there's this like one or zero.
Yeah.
Like, how do you feel? Like, I obviously you're saying yes, so you agree with me, but
100%.
how do we get away from this? Like, how can we shift this in some type of
Well,
way?
first of all, thanks for saying it, because I feel like I'm going fucking crazy on my own over here. I'm like, it's not like it's some weird, hard to detect thing. It's right out of fucking textbook. Let's take two. You said black and white thinking, and let's take a second one, catastrophizing. Dudes, this is a sign of trauma. It's PTSD. What do you see online? Okay, people online do not represent normal, everyday people. The most vocal people online probably are a bit crazy anyway. But come on. Again, let's not bury our heads in the sand here. Everybody's going in this direction now. Catastrophizing the fuck out of everything. And this black and white thinking, Gad Saad has called it a mind parasite. He calls it, what does he call it? Epistemological dichotomania, where we insist on splitting the world into, as you just said, zeros and ones, good and bad, black and white. And it is a madness. It's a hysteria. Where in the world does everything fall into two neat fucking categories? And why is the number two? Two eyes, two nostrils, two hands. That's how dumb we're being when we do this. It's very tempting, of course, to be like, you're either on the left or the right. Yeah, well, guess what? Like all rigid, low resolution models, it's pretty stupid and it's pretty stupefying at the end of it. So I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. How do we get past this? We need to start addressing the fact that broad scale, everybody's traumatized. They're traumatized. I'm not like, oh, everybody's weak and everybody can't deal with it. I'd never do that. I'd always tell people to just muscle up and get on with it, of course. But if somebody or something is sick, we need to have a conversation and just be like, okay, guys, whoa. Before we vote again, before we do this riot, before we go kill someone for something, can we all just sit down, take a breath and be like, I don't feel very well today. I don't feel good. I'm not the person who should be making these life-altering decisions, because inside of my body is a shitstorm of anxiety, rage, guilt. You know the script, mate. You know the script.
Yeah, definitely. And it touches on, I want to touch on actually the manosphere and the MGTOW movement and the fact of the alphas and the betas. To me, what that looks like to me, that's not alpha and beta, that's narcissist and codependent. And obviously narcissists are codependent as well, but you know what I mean, the people pleaser and the narcissist. That's what I see.
Yeah.
You're saying alpha and beta, but that's all that means. So if they're going to push all these men to be alpha,
mate,
they're not going to be alphas. It's not going to happen.
No,
right.
because it's a group designation. So if we were in a tribe of 20 wolves, which is where it comes from, there are alphas, there are betas, there are omegas, there are sigmas, and everybody's like, no, I want to be the king. No, bitch. That's not how fucking kingship works. Well, I want to be the leader. You ain't qualified. So you got a bunch of men running around going, I'm a king, I'm a leader. Bitch, you suck. You're not qualified. Step down. Step down. Be humble. And you might have seen in the manosphere, like the wheels falling off for some guys, like this preposterous scandal with Fresh and Fit at the moment. I don't know if you're up on this.
You saw about that. You saw that, huh?
I keep an eye on it. I keep an eye on the manosphere. There'll be loads of this because these motherfuckers lie. Potent, you've been in clubs like me since you were a kid. You know the boys who are good at getting girls, right? And they are pretty rare. You got a friend group of 20, you know one guy who's a suave motherfucker and he gets a lot of girls. These guys ain't that guy. You know, mate. We're like the straight men we know what a girl is going to fucking go for. We know a panty dropping guy, even as a straight man. So you see these dudes are like, I'm a beta. I mean, I'm an alpha. I get all damn bitches. No, you don't. No, you fucking don't, you jackass. Even if you were a millionaire, you might get one or two. Calm down.
Right.
But the internet, you can be whoever you want. You can say whatever you want. And this is the first, I believe. There'll be a domino effect now. Because these dudes lie. And they tell stupid lies. They're like, I fucked 1,500 girls. Okay, so I should listen to you more because you put your PP in more of a JJ?
Right. You're not even like, I know for myself, I would never consider myself completely like alpha.
Yeah.
But I'm more alpha than you.
Right.
And you know what I mean? Like, I'm more alpha than you, brother.
Right.
Like, what are you gonna tell me? And it makes me sad a little bit because they're just taking advantage of all the weak men that haven't gotten out of their mama's house, that haven't figured out how can I get a little inch of confidence to run outside and do something of value.
And
so they're go ahead.
It's marketing, mate. It's just a marketing game. I got into the marketing game a long time ago. I mean, I was raised in that kind of, my father was a salesman, so I had no choice. He would have ancient cassettes playing from the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, like the New Thought moment, focus on your goals, make more sales. That was in my childhood. And I kept up with it. Eventually I got into internet marketing because I wanted a side hustle, blah, blah. I know what they're doing. It's straight out the manual. You find a desperate crowd of people and then you tell them what they want to fucking hear and you tell them they have a magic solution and you sell them the magic solution. What is a more desperate crowd of people than horny men who can't get paid? And they will pay you. They will pay you. I don't touch it because I think it's completely fucking immoral. I think it's totally wrong. Well, I spoke at a Manosphere event, 21 Studios in Warsaw, Poland, a couple of years ago. And one night after the dinners were done and we were done chatting to each other, I was fucked. I wanted to go to the hotel room and read my book. And this group of like 4 guys came up to me like, oh, do you want to go to the club with us? And I was like, not really, lads. I want to go to sleep. Oh, we thought we could come to the club with you and see how you get all the ladies. And I was like, I'm not a fucking pickup artist, man. I don't do that shit. And do you think I now, tired, want to walk around a club with 4 weird dudes following me? That's not going to help my game, gentlemen. That's not going to make me look cool whilst you're standing there going, oh my goodness, she's talking to a lady.
Behind you like this.
I would just say that it's such palpable bullshit and it makes me really sad that people can't see through it. It's clear what's happening there. It's such obvious fucking grift. But there are dudes in there who really want to help men. But they're not doing this alpha beta bullshit. Sorry, I've got verbal diarrhea. You know what I'm like? The alpha beta thing you said was narcissist codependent. You know what my personal thing is? Because marketing, the hub of marketing in the world is America. And it's extremely American thing to market to people. I love sales and marketing. It's a beautiful thing. The Americans do 2 things great: guns and marketing. You want to know about guns, you go to America. You want to know about marketing, go to America. It's an American thing. Alpha and beta is this generation's way of saying jock or nerd. That's it. Jocks and nerds. Then they're still stuck in fucking high school. It's not that it's not true. It's not that there's no truth to it, that like a guy who's more confident or more assertive is going to get more girls or whatever. Yeah, maybe in certain contexts, maybe. But the idea that the men could be divided into alphas and betas, get the fuck out of here with this nonsense. Fucking gibberish.
Right. I think that's what I got out of a video that I saw from Sam Vaknin probably a week ago.
Yeah.
The adolescent narcissism.
Yeah.
And to me, it looks like what they're doing is taking adolescence and stretching that motherfucker out to like you're 30. And I think that makes sense for them because there's a dollar profit to keeping everybody young, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. 100%.
It's like, so everybody's still worrying about flirting, worrying about uh the impressing impressing the cool guy in their mind. People are trying to make people envy, and that's also with social media as well. It's like, hey, how can I make other people envious of me? I think it's just, to me, I just think it's disgusting. I think that's like, come on, why are we doing that? We could have so much more fun if we weren't sitting around trying to pander to somebody you don't give a fuck about.
So much more fun. So much more fun. I mean, this could be heaven. This could be, we live in the Garden of Eden. There's so much good stuff here, and we fuck it up. We fuck it all up. Like to the point of I just kind of need to get it out. This thing about alphas and betas, right? It's context specific. So Sam Vaknin is an alpha. When and where is he an alpha? When he runs a psychology seminar and he's the brightest motherfucker in the room, he's alpha. If we take him to play basketball, and I include myself in this, me and Sam Vaknin would be categorized as betas. Neither of us can, or I don't know, fucking whatever. Like in some other fucking field, or rap. We're not going to be fucking alphas in rap, are we? In a battle rap, we're going to be betas. And you just think, boys and girls, like, you've got to upgrade your consciousness. You've got to upgrade your consciousness. I appreciate that, like, you can tamper with IQ to a degree, but some of the stuff we're doing is so willfully stupid. It's so willfully stupid. And that what you've raised here, it drives me crazy, mate. It drives me mad.
Absolutely. Yeah, because like coming into this podcast space or going live, especially with you guys, you and Pierre, is like, I'm completely beta. I can't be alpha. I can try, but it's not going to happen. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here. Yeah. Like, I'm barely pulling it together. But if you talk about music, if we talk about songwriting, I'm gonna be completely alpha. No, that doesn't make sense. No, this is how it goes. So it is context specific, and a lot of people. Go ahead.
You can't fake it, mate. All these guys out here, like, being alpha is like when I talk like this and I make this face and I say, well, I've got loads of fucking goals, and I just like. Shut the fuck up. Stop lying. I wish I could get these guys face to face and just grab them by the ear and go, listen, you dumb little beast, you need to stop because this is seriously bad karma. You're confusing the young ones. You're confusing them. And like, are you going to fucking stop? Yeah, I'll stop, because come on. Like, if we were all in prison together, we would fucking figure out who the fucking alphas were, mate.
Absolutely.
I get frustrated with the permission that the internet grants people to just act like fucking clowns, and not just get away with it, but get rewarded for it, because there are other people are watching them and they're so broken, they're so lost, they're so deluded that they just feed them. They pay their rent, they put fuel in their car. It's no, you're right. It's disgusting the way they act. It's a real disgrace. Some of them.
Right. And I mean, there's also that for the females too. The women, we're not going to discredit the women. They're doing the same shit on their end.
Yeah.
And they just want to be alpha women or whatever the fuck you call it. Right. So it's like, guys better submit to me. You know what I mean? It's like, you better buy me all these things. How much money you got? How much money you got? I'm sorry, because I got deep in the whole, like, the past month going into like hip hop culture, black culture, and the women and the guys there.
Yeah.
Most of the guys are super chill.
Yeah.
And the women are like on 10 all the fucking time.
The women have huge cocks that they're swinging around and bashing in your face, and the guys are like mumble rapping about how they're sad and they're on painkillers, and the girls won't text them back.
Right.
Yeah, it's pure. UG Rose introduced me to this animus possession and anima possession. So the women are possessed by the spirit of an angry man, which turns them into bull-busting bitches, and the men are possessed by the spirit of a whinging, weak-willed, manipulative woman, which turns them into spineless wimps. And it's It's not good. It's not good. I mean, yeah, rap's actually a really good thing to look at in that sense, because I think rap's an environment of extremes where you can really lay on the theatricalness of everything, and it just brings all the otherwise unconscious archetypes that you wouldn't see. It brings everything to the surface. That's the nature of rap. It's revelatory. It's apocalyptic, I think.
Right.
So you see all this shit. Yeah, and you know, the
Right.
defense will always be it's a caricature. Cardi B isn't really like that. Megan Thee Stallion isn't really like that. And you go, yeah, it's a caricature, but where's it coming from? You're still drawing from the collective unconscious to create that caricature.
Right. Absolutely. So we live in a consumer-based society, right?
Yes.
People are treating everything with the idea that the customer is always right.
Mm.
Okay.
Mm.
Even like you're a life coach, you are a CPTSD expert, you help people with this. How have you dealt with this consumer is always right mentality in your business or in your life?
I just figured it out in Serbia. I literally figured it out after I did 3 seminars. And after the second seminar, I was like, something is not right here. Something is not, I'm not doing something right. And then I was like, you know what? I was like, what, in a different field, how would you be different? And I was like, if I was teaching a sales and marketing seminar or a self-defense seminar, I go, listen, this is the way it is. This is what you need to do. You do it or you don't do it. It's none of my fucking business. Whereas in the codependency narcissism space, I'm like, this is what you need to do, and I'm going to help you do it. I don't just give you the chicken. I chop it up for you, and then I pop it in your mouth, and I take your jaw and go, nom, 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 thank you, chew. So on the third seminar, I went out and I was like, listen, I'm not telling you how to live. I'm not a priest. It's called life coach, but I'm not coming to your house. I said to them, I'm not going to come to your house, clean your socks and wash your dishes. They laughed. I was like, I'm going to tell you what you must do. Do it or don't do it. It's none of my business. I get paid. I go home. It's on you. And they laughed. And the whole seminar was delivered in that spirit. And it worked 10 times better. 10 times better. So the level of sort of the consumer-driven narcissism that says I'm always right and nothing is ever good enough for me, which is a terrible problem in our culture. Nothing is good enough. There's no gratitude for anything. Can only be defeated by openly saying to people up front, this is how far I'm going to go with you, and beyond that, I don't give a fuck. But in order to do that, like the alpha male thing, faking it, you can't fake it. You really must not give a fuck. You really must be able to financially say, I can walk away from this. I don't need you as a customer. I don't need you as a client. You take this or you leave it. It's none of my fuck. You're an adult. It's none of my fucking business.
So why do you think? So do you think it's because we're such a consumer-based society that people treat everything like they're a customer and that they should always be right?
It's what we're entrained to through TV, through media, through marketing, through the lyrics of the songs we're listening to the devices, the smartphones and the apps on the smartphones. Everything is about you 24/7 if you want it to be. Who you are, your choices, your identity, your favorite colored t-shirt, the way you vote. It's you. We're spoon feeding people themselves back to themselves. And then we're like, why are people so freaking narcissistic and entitled? Well, you've been jerking them off because that's what the apps should do. Really, if we're capitalists, we go, yeah, apps should jerk you off. They should feed your narcissism. And they do. They put billions of dollars into researching how to do it. And yes, all of this entrains the mind to think, well, the world and everyone in it is here to pleasure me. It's all about me. Okay, so if we have 1 in 100 people acting like that, society will trundle along and we'll be okay. There'll be a few fights every once in a while, but it'll be okay. Once you get up to like 70 to 80% operating from that ideological position, society begins to collapse, which is what we're seeing now. The wheels are falling off because a critical number of people have adopted the mindset that like life and everything in it is all about me. Fuck contribution and fuck the others. Me. That's a problem for a culture.
Right. What do you think? What do you think we can do to try to shift that into a better direction?
In all honesty, nothing. There's too many people moving in too wrong of a direction. And if you think about, like, consciousness doesn't have a weight, but let's pretend it does. In sheer tonnage of entitled stupidity, nothing would stop this now from where it's going. There's too much, what is it called? Inertia. The thing is moving. There is no force that will stop this. Only a massive catastrophe will stop this. And these people are going to create their own catastrophe, so it will be stopped. It's like, you know, in nature, like you watch a nature documentary and a lion eats this cute gazelle, and you're like, damn, why doesn't the cameraman stop them? Or the baby fox is dying in the cold and the cameraman just watches it happen. You're supposed to do that. Sometimes you just have to observe. It has to play out. It's not pretty, it's not nice, it's not a Disney movie, but this is one of those things that has to play out. For some people, they can choose to unplug and they'll be okay, but it will be a minority that get through this with their marbles in order, I think.
Right. My marbles ain't even in order. I'm all scrambled the fuck up because of this shit.
I would say then, if your marbles are scrambled in exactly the right way, you'll be okay. If your marbles are in order, that would be a disadvantage in a crazy world. You'll do it.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. So you made a good point on Tentacles Croissant yesterday about the teaching style and how it became way more passive, and how you can say, oh, yeah, that's a good point, but actually, instead of saying, no, that's the wrong fucking answer, here's the right answer.
Yes. Yeah, that actually, sorry, mate. I really do have verbal diarrhea when I talk to you.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. You can talk, man.
There was a young student, it's quite a while ago, it's 10 years ago, that I ended up stupidly they were like 20 years old. I got into a stupid argument with them over the interpretation of Charles Dickens and one book. I don't know what it was, The Tale of Two Cities or whatever. And they said, I think the book is about this. And I'm like, it isn't. No, that's how I interpret it. Well, that might be how you interpret it, but your interpretation is not what the book is about. What the book is about is what the author says it's about. And maybe even in your comments, we'll get young people who argue with me because they're actually trained in school to say it doesn't matter what the author's political position was, what their background was, what their intention was. They could have written a book about the book explaining exactly what the first book fucking meant. And you're allowed to go and go, no, that's not what they meant. This is what they meant. And I'm like, it's not modern art. It's not poetry. It's not like a suggestive line on a dark background that makes me think of my mother. It's not. It's like, it's clear what Dickens is talking about. It's clear what Orwell was talking about. And that made me realize that there was a real corruption that had seeped into the education system, where we got so obsessed with postmodernism and social constructivism and moral relativism that we started going into the realm of factual relativism. Once you start with moral relativism, it seems to end up in factual relativism. So you can all have your own facts now. Everybody can just choose their own facts. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? That you can't, again, like, you can have an individual doing that. Crazy Larry, he's this way, like whatever. You can't have a culture entrained to interpret reality that way. It's narcissistic. It's solipsistic. I want Charles Dickens to be the Tale of Two Cities to be about fucking, I don't know, whatever this kid was making up. I'm like, it's clear. Like, we know what Charles Dickens meant by that book. It's not even vague. It's not even open to interpretation particularly. It is what it is. Not that there aren't open to interpretation elements of all books, but like, you can't just say this book is about whatever I want it to be. No, it's about what it's written about. Come on.
Right. Do you think that's helping push that idea of adolescence to your 30? Do you think that that's kind of pushing it as well? Like, because I remember doing that when I was in college. I went back to college when I was 25. Mm-hmm. So when I went back to college, I'm afraid that the teacher's going to tell me, no, you're dumb, you know? Mm-hmm. But I'm going in there and the teacher is telling me, or not me, but other people, hey, all right, I understand your perspective and I get it, but here's another idea of how this can go. And it's like, Well, that's cool for me because I don't have to feel shitty about my wrong answers. But at the same time,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
getting pampered
Yeah.
and I'm getting like fucking nestled into this different idea of, hey, you can be right, but the other person might not see your opinion. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Or your,
Yeah.
but these are facts we're talking about, not opinions.
100%, mate. So there's multiple coordinates that are taking us in a catastrophic direction. One of them is the pandering to students. Somewhere along the line, the education, and it's within my lifetime. I'm not that old. Like, I watched educational institutions change from trying to teach people how to do their subject in the right way to trying to pass as many students with as high grades as possible. And
Right.
those two things would be like, you go, well, it's sort of similar, isn't it? No, no. Once you stop focusing on the actual end result quality and you start focusing on the appearance of quality, and you run that experiment for decades, which we have for millions, if not billions of students across the globe, you have problems. And you end up here, which is like, well, the more students we have who get a higher grade, we report that back. And in the UK, that information is made public. It probably is in some states in America as well. So that prospective customers, parents, can choose a school. This is how many kids passed with an A grade, with a B. Okay, we'll send Timmy there. So that's marketing. They're now marketeers. Your fucking exam grade is an advert for generations to come behind you. And that slip, that it seems like a small little, we'll just, come on, guys, we're just fucking little, come on. It's disastrous. It's totally disastrous, because I don't want a generation of children who will tell me George Orwell's 1984 is about how to set up a business selling ice cream. I don't think that that's helpful.
Right. And it goes to this idea that I had like back when I was super liberal to the book or to the news, whatever they were putting out there. I thought the idea of being super nice was a great fucking idea. I
Yeah.
wanted to be super nice. I remember, I came from the hood. Everybody around me was super rude. Shut up, you don't know what you're talking about. Like shit like that. And I was like, I don't think we should be doing this. We should be super nice. But I also was a part of that movement. Now I'm looking at it like they they had us be super nice, so we can't really, or they have us obliging to whatever the fuck they want us to oblige to, so we can't be a fighting force against it. Now I'm looking at it like it's evil or it's like malicious. Do you think that's the case?
I think that we usually hit this topic. Well, in fact, every podcast we've done, we've hit this topic of intentionality. There could be intentionality here, because it's, I think we said this before, like convincing young people that the most important thing in the world is fairness, safety, and niceness is easy. It's super easy. They're really young. They're really impressionable. Show them like Schindler's List and traumatize them with that, and then be like, okay, don't you think this should never happen again? They're like, oh my God, yes. Don't you think it's really important then that the top priority should be compassion, empathy, niceness, permissiveness, and inclusivity? They'll be like, oh my God, yes. And which then leads to the, as you mentioned, liberal, which in America is left, isn't it? That means you're left. And I was a leftist when I was a youngster, a radical leftist. It's then easy to start to try and put that into policy. But what you're talking about is waking up to a philosophical idea being good and a psychological idea being good, but that actually when it's ingrained enshrined in law, it's actually a bit of a fucking problem. Our top priority for running a nation is different for our priority for talking between each other or our priority in psychotherapy. You mentioned safetyism. Having safety as a very high level value in a country is disastrous. It's disastrous. It is not the job of a government to make me personally safe, protect my borders, and stop rapists from running riot in the road. And beyond that, stay the fuck away from me. You're nothing to do with me. You'll pay taxes, protect the borders, don't let the Russians bomb us, don't let marauding hordes of Mad Max style cannibals roam the roads, have the police for that, and then shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear anything else from you. I don't want to hear from you in any way. But that's what safetyism does. And when we move far along on the left, we're always, as an ex sort of recovering leftist, we're always going to end up having to appeal to top-down authority. Like, they're not being nice, they're not being safe, they're not being inclusive. Right. Daddy, fix it. Mummy, fix it. Well, how'd you fix it? Punish them, hit them, lock them up, gas them. You know, like, the world just doesn't work like that. It's disastrous. But, you know, we should divide the good intention. You wanted to be inclusive. I did too. You hated bullies. I did too. We didn't want to see people getting stamped on by bigger people physically or bigger corporations economically. We wanted a chance for everyone. We wanted it fair. Beautiful, beautiful ideals. Great. But it's like, how do you do that? How do you fucking go about doing that then is the question.
Right. Yeah, it's fucked up, man, because it's like, it's been hijacked in all different directions. It's been hijacked even in the hip-hop music culture.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really be yourself. That's not cool anymore. You have to be one of these guys, fit over here in this mold, right? And it just fucks up the balance of everything. And I think that's, to me, maybe I have my tinfoil hat on, but to me, I think that is deliberate.
So one way of analyzing it or considering it would be like, is it beneficial to anybody? Yes. Who's it beneficial to? Aha. And then you can start coming to the conclusion. I mean, to put some meat on that, I would say it's beneficial to have a nation of people who are more submissive, who are used to the idea of governmental authority in their deepest lives, in their assholes and inside their bedrooms and wherever the fuck the tentacles can dig in, right. And who lack a will. You don't want a people with a strong will. You want them weak so that you can harvest their taxes and go and kill people in foreign countries who happen to be sitting on a lithium mine or whatever the fuck. That's what you really want. That's what the beast wants. So I do think some of it is spontaneous and it's a result of money. We're just so affluent that you get to a point where there's so many people floating along on the affluence of other people that they become safety obsessed and way too obsessed with niceness. And yes, I agree with you. Isn't it strange that fits hand in glove with an agenda to make people more submissive and easier to control?
Correct. Because nowadays you have zero people in the music industry talking about the situation on hand in any other way than the industry wants you to talk about it.
Can't I get you and Ben together and we do a sideline project where you disguise yourselves and come out with like pseudonyms, and I'll fund it and you just go hard on this shit? You just fucking rip into it all and just do it, because
I'll be down.
Yeah, I mean, whatever I can do to help set it up in such a way that makes you feel like you are truly free. But I really need to hear some rage. I really need to hear some fucking frustration. I really want to hear that punk element of hip hop. I need it to tear shit down. I don't want my hip hop supporting the establishment, supporting corporations anymore. Thanks. It's not that it's all shit. Like, there's still good music being made, but the spirit is different. So if there's anything I can ever do in that regard, I'd love to do it. And I'd love to have people in a situation where they feel like they can just take the gloves off and just fucking go for it with full savagery. I want that.
I'm down. Let Ben know I'm down.
We'll create a WhatsApp group with me, you, and Ben, and we'll see what we can do.
Ben know I'm down. All right. So another thing that I heard you and Pierre touch on briefly yesterday was that you guys feel like you were pimped on YouTube.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit?
The way these platforms are set up is evil genius, mate. It's evil genius. The YouTube studio, which you used to just upload your videos there, and then you just find out how many likes and dislikes it got. The YouTube studio started talking to you, not literally, but it would give you like colors and verbal feedback, and it was so natural. It just slipped in there. It was just, but then you found like, yeah, we were finessed. We were pimped. It was like, this last video you did, listen, come here, kid. I really like you. But this last video you did, I know you enjoyed doing it, but it's not as good as this video over here. Don't you want your likes? Don't you want your followers, baby? Get back out there and do what you used to do the way you used to do. And you find yourself trying to appease this evil daddy that's whispering in your ear, and it's quite stressful. It becomes stressful because you're not logging on going, how do I help people the most I can? How do I tell the truth as best as I possibly can? You're logging in and you're being coaxed slowly, gently into, how do I make YouTube love me? And then when it does, if you actually get an endorphin hit, you get some dopamine, you get some serotonin from that. And you're like, wow, I pleased the angry pimp daddy. Yay.
Right. I feel sort of the same way with Instagram as well.
Yeah.
Like I can post now, if I posted spiritual miracle shit all the fucking time, I can get a slew of those people. I can get a bunch of people if I just posted negative shit as well. But for me, I post negative, positive, negative, positive, maybe negative, negative, then a positive, positive.
Yeah.
And for the algorithms, it doesn't make sense because here I go with a negative and everybody eats it up. I even have comments on some of those negative posts that are like too negative to even like. I will just ignore it. I'll look at him like, all right, I gotta ignore you, bro, because you're going too crazy.
Yeah.
But we get stuck in this like, okay, well, if I don't post this type of material, it won't get out there. Yes. And I'm trying to get a message out there. I'm trying to do, I'm trying to promote my new album, Audio Sage, December 10th. Check that out. Cop that. Richard Grannon on that motherfucker too. You can get a physical copy on Bandcamp. Shameless plug. But it becomes like a thing where you're like juggling, like, okay, what can I throw there that can make this happen for the algorithm? Because it's not necessarily for me,
Yeah. I think I had a long conversation with Ben about this. It wasn't about Instagram, it was about the music. And I'm like, you just, on some stuff, you just have to give up. If it didn't work up until now, it's not going to work that way. We're all going to be a long time dead. Just fucking tell the truth. Just be like, hey, this is what I think is happening in the world right now. Isn't that kind of fucked up? And if you feel a certain way, just say it. Just speak the truth as you see it. It makes bitches of us all because we're all there waiting to see how many likes we get, which is like a fucking 16-year-old girl going into a place and being like, how many boys are looking at me? So it's turning us all into reaction-seeking performers. There's nothing wrong with being a reaction-seeking performer. Nothing wrong with being a 16-year-old girl. I'm a 43-year-old man, however, and I find the idea a little creepy. Don't want to be that way. I think in my 43-year-old manness, I should be out there just giving it raw, just telling the truth and just being like, look, this is it. You don't like it? Fucking leave. I started posting there. Like people would be like, I don't like this video. I'm like, well, fucking ask the manager for a refund then, you silly cunt. Your attendance is fucking optional and I don't need it.
Correct. Because a lot of people feel like I've been watching you for 3 years. Now you told me something that I don't agree with.
Yeah.
Hey, man, change that fucking video for me.
Go back and reshoot it until you say the thing that I want you to say. And I'm like, why don't you just whisper it to yourself in the dark, you fuck? If you need to hear it so bad, use the voice recorder on your phone and play it back. I don't think that. And then people are like, don't you think? No, I don't think. I hate that fucking question structure. Don't you think? No, bitch. I think what I just fucking said.
Don't you think that? It's like, fuck off. As soon as you say, don't you think, fuck off. It's quick.
Fuck off.
It's quick.
Don't you fuck off. No, because I just said what I said. I just told you what I think, but don't you think? No, clearly I don't. If you listen to what I said, I don't think that. Why are you fucking double questioning me?
Right, and it goes back to the black and white thinking, and I saw Pierre put up a story where somebody hit his DMs and was like, you're putting up, are you anti-vax? I can't believe you're anti-vax. And it's like, dude, it don't have to be anti-vax. It could be anti-mandate.
Yeah. We could be anti-propaganda. We could be anti-invasion of civil liberties on the basis of no needed threat whatsoever.
Right.
It's, mate. But people, it's kind of a game. And with social media, people are playing a game. You log on like Call of Duty, but you're playing Instagram. And if you're into that political thing, it can be, I imagine it can be quite rewarding for the people who do it. You get to harass people online, pressure strangers into saying things they don't believe. And it becomes like a hobby. It consumes people's lives.
Right. And that's what that's why I fucks with you, Richard Grannon. It's because, like, even when, I didn't know you or anything like that, it was more or less, you were saying it straight, and you said it with, like, this is what it is. Like, you didn't say it like, actually, whatever you think, I will pander to you about. It wasn't, it was more or less like, I'm trying my best to be as honest with you as possible without hurting your fucking feelings.
Right. Well,
you know what I mean?
I just think we all benefit from a dose of honesty and authenticity. The world is disappearing into its own artifice. It's gone way too far. If we don't start pushing back in the other direction, a catastrophe will occur that resets the balance. That's life. I don't want to live in a fucking catastrophic world. I don't want people hurting each other and getting all excited and doing things they're going to regret for the rest of their lives and generating bad karma. It's not necessary. We can just think and talk and pull out of this. It's a mass psychosis. It's a fever dream, a collective fever dream. And it can be stopped. It just takes a bit of perspective and maybe some LSD or some psilocybin.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling all of y'all. Take a little bit of mushrooms and sit in a room by yourself.
Just a little.
See what you come up with. see how it manifests. So, Richard Grannon, that's about it. That's all the questions I got for you at this time, man. Let everybody know where they can find you and how they can reach you.
The best thing, if you just put Richard Grannon into YouTube, there's a prolific amount of material that I've spunked out over the years, and you can enjoy that. Thanks very much for having me on, Post. And I always appreciate the conversation. It always leaves me feeling lighter. Thank you, mate.
Not a problem, Richard. I appreciate you more than you ever know. Hey, I appreciate everybody in the chat. I appreciate everybody coming through with the comments afterwards. I appreciate everybody donating. This is the Street Shaman Podcast, man. I'm Shamanic Poe, aka Poe the Rockstar, and this is Richard Grannon, and we out of here.